Yo, what's up, everybody? Anthony Correnti here, and if this is your first time checking out the channel, I host a Dynasty Fantasy Football podcast called The Dynasty Drive. If you're already a listener or a subscriber of the podcast, I appreciate the support as always, but if this is your first time checking out any of the video content that I'm going to be putting out here, I greatly appreciate it. I would love if you would consider hitting the subscribe button so you can check out lots of really awesome content that I have planned to come along the way throughout the off season here. And today, what I want to do is get into the first of what'll be many of we'll call it a 2021 NFL Draft Prospect Spotlight. So I want to start breaking down some players that'll be available in your rookie drafts coming up throughout the offseason and as the NFL Draft approaches. But kind of want to get into some guys first and foremost that are a little more under the radar, aren't getting quite the acclaim or buzz that, the real high-end guys are, the Najee Harrises, the Jamar Chases, those guys. We know they're great. We'll still break them down, but we know they're great. So today, and we'll keep these kind of short form and easy to consume, hopefully. Won't run too long, but the guy that I wanted to get into first and foremost, somebody that's pretty interesting to me, is University of North Carolina running back Michael Carter. So Michael Carter got a little overshadowed by the breakout of his teammate Javonte Williams, who increased his draft stock tenfold with an excellent season. But Michael Carter is no slouch. He's got production. His senior season just wrapped up. He ran for just over 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns. So he'll measure in somewhere about 5'8", 5'9", and just shy of 200 pounds, probably somewhere between 195 and 200 pounds. His freshman year at North Carolina ran for 559 yards and 8 touchdowns. His sophomore season, 597 and 2 touchdowns. But then the junior and senior year, over 1,000 yards in both of those seasons. So junior year, 1,003 yards and 3 touchdowns. And like I had mentioned, his senior year, 1,200 yards, 1,245 yards to be exact, and 9 touchdowns. He was third team All-ACC in 2019, first team All-ACC in 2020, and an AP third-team All-American in 2020 as well. So even though he's been overshadowed a little bit by the breakout of Javonte Williams, there's a lot to be excited about with Michael Carter. And just recently, I watched and broke down some film from 3 games against Miami, against Syracuse, and against Florida State. And there's a lot to like about him. People will knock him for being, quote-unquote undersized, but I really don't see him as a back that runs that way. He's really more than willing to run the ball inside and kind of crafty in the way that he does so. He can carry the ball inside, but he's patient behind the line of scrimmage, both in letting his blocks set up and in terms of helping his own blocking out with some pretty nifty footwork as well. Some of the knocks, again, people will knock the size, but I'm not super concerned there just because of the way that he does run, and people will knock that he wasn't more involved, I think, in the passing game, which I do think will be a bit of a projection since it's logical to expect that he will need to show some more in the passing game as he transitions to the pros. I think a lot of people will expect him to profile as part of a committee. There may be a team that drafts him and slots him into that lead back role, but I think it's a safer assumption to assume that he'll probably end up as part of a committee in the NFL. But what I really love most about him is his vision as a runner and his contact balance as a runner. His footwork, the word that I keep coming back to describe the way his feet work is nimble. He's really kind of crafty with how he uses his footwork, where he doesn't, overuse moves or, try and do too much on any particular run. He'll, is a one-cut guy a lot of times in the open field, a lot of subtle cuts to make defenders, set defenders up to miss. But the contact balance is what I keep coming back to. Through tackle attempts, whether he spins through them, he stays on his feet pretty easily, honestly. And it's something that is, really appealing to me in a skill set as somebody transitions to the professional game as well. I think stuff like that translates pretty easily and it's pretty easy to see. So in the open field, don't get me wrong, he's got plenty of skills to make a defender look silly. He did it a ton in the game against Miami. I think he ran for, 300 yards and a couple touchdowns. He had 24 carries for 308 yards and 2 touchdowns. So of course that one's going to be great, but he was ripping off chunk yards up the middle. He was taking the ball up the middle, putting, one cut on a defender at the second level, making him miss, and taking the ball 30, 40, 50, 60 yards a lot of times throughout that game. So based on the way I think rookie drafts will go and the way that running backs will go, it seems safe to assume that a lot of drafts for the rookies in people's dynasty leagues will, Najee Harris will probably be the first running back, and Travis Etienne will go after that. And Javonte Williams is probably the third running back in a lot of those drafts. Based on that and based on the amount of wide receivers that'll go between the high-profile guys like Chase, Smith, Waddle, and then the guys that'll go, back end round 1, early round 2, whether it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, whether it's I want to say Chris Olave, but Chris Olave obviously decided to return to Ohio State. Rondell Moore, Rashad Bateman, those wide receivers are going to push guys like Michael Carter into the second round. And honestly, with the production that he has and with what he shows as a runner, if he's a guy that I can land with a mid to late second round pick in rookie drafts, you can honestly do a lot worse. So those are just some quick, easy to consume thoughts on Michael Carter. I hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to do this a lot over the offseason. So if there's any players in particular that you want my thoughts on, that we can kind of help break down a little bit as we get into draft season or get closer to draft season, feel free to comment below or anything like that, who you'd like to see more of this of, and we'll certainly get them done. But like I said, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you here and have you keep coming back to check some stuff out, because we got a lot more stuff planned along the way over the course of the off season. So stay tuned, and we'll keep pumping out some stuff here for you guys. Appreciate the support. Thanks.